Okay, this is the meeting of the Royal Council, and we'll hand over now to the chairman to give his opening remarks.
Evening, gentlemen. Thank you for attending this night's meeting. We've got a fair few things to go through today, so without further ado, let's crack on and start with a discussion on the current status of the Midgard mission. Do the Royal Clerks have any update to give the council on this?
Yes, so some information has reached us that there have been some problems with the journey. So there's still the mission still seems to be within the Broken Lands area. So it's still not in it's undisputed terrain, if you like. It's not claimed to be owned by Midgard. And so technically we should have the right to travel there without any sort of international incidents. The problem is that there has been conflict, which appears to have been started by the Midgard side. Some patrols, something called wraith patrols, were encountered along with some other characters of the Midgard area, and it's become a bit confused. There have been some threats exchanged, and there's been conflict, and some people have been injured. We don't know how many have been killed, but some have for sure. And the clerks are uncertain how you would like us to proceed. Whether you would, there's been no contact from Midgard at all regarding this. Other than the information that everybody has seen. So unsure whether you would like us to try anything diplomatically or whether we are or just simply moving forward as it goes now.
So I guess these could be rogue elements opposed to the diplomatic mission. They could be just unlawful bandits or something like that. They could be, who knows.
It's undead. I'm sorry. Duke and Stavius, it's undead. You know, they're there. This is what they do. You destroy them. This is why there's a Crusader Shannon on board. And when I get there, we'll give them what's needed.
Right. Any constructive thoughts from the council on how we should approach this?
Well, I've heard a rumor at least one individual purporting to be a Midgard official of some sort has intervened with regard to the conflict, but I don't know the details.
Okay, so do we want to approach this diplomatically or leave it in the hands of our colleagues on the mission to act as they see fit?
I think the Lord Crusader Shannon's dealing with it very well.
Yeah, so far she's killed a handful though, isn't it? I thought we're trying to sort of be go over there and be nice, not go over there and kill everything that moves, so to speak.
It's the vampires. Well, what do you expect? We're not going to be nice to them. Yes, I won't.
Yeah, I think that is our intention at this time. It's certainly the way we proceeded as a diplomatic mission. So I would suggest, unless there's any other thoughts or objections, that we ask the Royal Clerks to reach out to their counterparts in Midgard and just raise our concerns about what has happened. But in the meantime, instruct our forces to carry on as they are, traveling towards Midgard and defend themselves as necessary, but don't go out of their way to attack anything they come across.
I agree with you, Duke. One thing I would do is, from the diplomatic channels, ask for them to ask the Midgard officials themselves to explain their understanding of what happened.
Okay, I think we have an agreement. Can we put that into action, please?
No problem. That is fully understood. Thank you, Chairman.
Excellent. Okay, moving on. The Red Knights. My understanding is that their threat has very much diminished and we have forces in their main base at the moment. But if we could get a full update from the clerks, please.
Yes, so as we understand it, that is the situation. The main base of the Red Knights has been located, and a large number of adventurers and forces have arrived to attempt to get to the bottom of what is behind these Red Knights. So some fairly large power signatures have been detected, and individuals have told us that they've detected these at least 2 large power signatures, which we think, and this is just early guessing, but we think are 2 of the deadly sins. We are unsure which 2, but I don't think anyone at this stage is surprised by that. And we just wonder if there's any sort of support that you need. Would you like us to field any of the Royal Militia into the direction to support the adventurers? Is there any other action we should take, or is this totally left in the hands of the adventurers?
Thoughts?
The reports I've received are thus far, considerable number of Red Knights were encountered, are still being encountered, but they posed very little real resistance to the adventurers that came in. I know there's at least one Lord Crusader in that group.
Yeah, certainly looking at reports I've received from my guild members as well, the adventurers seem to have things well in hand at the moment. There are, as you say, some notable individuals of strength and power in there. So I don't think we need to mobilize the Royal Army or anything at this time. I suggest we leave it in the hands of the adventurers, but hold those forces in reserve should things go south.
Okay, thank you. There's one other question, though, that we would like the council to consider. We believe that at least one of these deadly sins has the ability to take over the minds of others. And with that in mind, there are some fairly powerful adventurers on this mission. And we were wondering if there was any thoughts. I mean, this has been raised by traders primarily, who are worried about potential disruption to trade routes if powerful adventurers were to switch sides, for instance, and if there was any mitigation for that.
Well, that could certainly be problematic. I'm going to stay away in that case.
We have Berenice Gracious superhero in the council.
I certainly don't want to be have any issues like this, but what any mind controlling happening to me or anything. But
what a scary thought.
Well, it could be that the Raven has fallen victim to this. It could be.
Yeah.
Or that
Cool.
good scapegoat for him. Or he could get out of that very easily by
So you're
using that as an
Sorry,
excuse.
Baron, we're not catching saying there.
Yeah, you're breaking it quite badly on that one.
I think
Yeah, breaking up.
the magical transmission of your messages is being disturbed by some sort of sorcerous energy.
I said that the Raven could probably use it as an excuse to get out of this, you know, his taking over of a town or a whole city, at that matter.
Yeah, I'm not responsible for my actions. It was them what done it, Governor.
Precisely.
Okay, I still think we should see how this plays out at the moment. I mean, we do have, you know, people who are not involved in the mission, such as myself and other notable individuals who have the ability to travel across vast distances quickly and will be in a position to protect the trade route should it be necessary. But at the same time, what we don't want to be doing is, you know, ending up killing adventurers who have been forced to do something against their will. So any thoughts from the High Priest or anyone else on how we can potentially counteract that? I can, you know, we can deal with the consequences of it, I'm sure, but I'd rather prevent it from happening and not kill people unnecessarily who are at heart good.
Well, it could be helpful to know what kind of a quote attack unquote. Sounds to me like a mental attack.
Yes, that's what we think as well. And we wondered whether any adventurers with that psionic type skills were on the mission.
That would be helpful to start.
Why don't you restrain them somewhere safe for their own good? That's possible. I believe that Crown used to have an item called Rod of Passage. You could put them somewhere safely and then get them out again when they've been stripped of their dark influences.
Yes. Do any of you have this Rod of Passage?
I believe the Crown might have taken the ability to buy them from magic traders a little while ago.
I don't have any record of that particular change I'll look into it, but as far as I'm aware, as a clerk to the council, there was no change like that made.
What was the item again?
A rod of passage.
Okay, well, let's, I suggest we look into that, look into the availability of this item, if it could be used in such a situation. I'll contact members of my guild, if any of you could do the same as well, and see if anyone has access to this artifact.
Are there any particular artifacts that incredibly boost metal defenses?
Mhm.
Well, quite a lot of the things that are most famous Berries Venturer wearing, I believe, does a remarkable job of boosting one's abilities in combat.
My abilities to resist most forms of damage, including mental attacks, are fairly high.
Legendary even. I mean, it's almost like you're volunteering to take on the deadly sins.
Oh, and I'm having such fun teleporting around with my teleport stone, finding out where it goes at the moment.
So that we do have a record of an item that could teleport people straight into the royal dungeon. The trouble is that item is possessed currently by the Raven and teleports them to the Raven's royal dungeon. So probably isn't usable by us at this time.
We can still use it. They just sort of stick in the wrong dungeon. That's all.
I believe the clerk is possibly mistaken. I was under the impression that it actually teleports people to the Crown Heart dungeons.
Yes, you could be right. I'll have to check my notes. I only have limited notes available to me at the moment, so you could be correct. And if that's the case, then that's less of a problem.
Okay, well, let's get an update on that. Let's look to see whether there are any other items out there. Question for the Royal Council then, as suggested by my good friend Chaldan. As possibly one of the stronger adventurers currently present in Barony.
One of? You have a superior?
And with high defenses against mental attack.
I do hear you have. Do hear you may have a challenger. Fantastic.
No, no, I don't think so. We've tried that.
Not yet, anyway.
Do we think it would make sense then for me to join this mission as someone who may be able to resist this control and deal with the deadly sins, or is it too much of a risk that they would take control of me and use me in a less than useful way? I'd appreciate everyone's thoughts.
If they attack by mental sort of attack, use vampires. Problem solved.
No.
I believe there happens to be Count Hellstrom is on this mission, I believe.
Well, there you go then. We've got someone on there who's near enough sort of immune to mental attacks, so therefore we can send him in there to find out what's going on.
Perfect. Unfortunately, he's not present on this at this meeting today, but I'm sure he will view this magical broadcast and we'll reach out to him to make him aware of this situation. And I think it sounds like it would be advisable then if he engages these power sources, deadly sins as they may well be, when they're encountered.
He is fairly close to being in the front as it is. So,
okay.
But the problem is, as I understand it, there's like 4 ways down off the entryway level, and so there seems to be some degree of people being perplexed. There was a captain to the east of the stairs down. And so the main body has gone that way, where much smaller groups have gone north and south, none yet at all to the west.
The northern steps, unfortunately, were a trap, I believe.
I'm sorry, you found a trap, or you've heard of there's a trap?
The northern stairs were just an illusion, and meant to be put there for the interests of those who constructed the such as stairs in the first place. A trap for the unwary. And I hope they didn't use them far too many times, because reinserting yourself onto a spike is painful, but attempting it more than once is just folly.
You wouldn't want to go up and down on that spike.
Why not?
Okay, so any further thoughts? We need to wrap this one up. So we believe there may be one of the deadly sins or two of the deadly sins that may have the ability to mentally control adventurers. Therefore, once they are located, our advice to everybody on the mission would be that only individuals with high mental defense, preferably immune to mental defense, such as vampires, engage those entities once they're found, and everyone else should withdraw.
That sounds like an excellent idea.
And we'll make that announcement. Is there a good way that the royal clerks or mages can reach out and disseminate that information to everybody on the mission, or should we as guild leaders approach our members directly?
So we can do it for you, Chairman, but it's generally our view that it has more gravity if it comes directly from the leaders themselves. So whilst we are happy to echo what you're doing, we think perhaps if each of you could encourage your peers to do the same, the news will get out and it would be more likely to be adhered to. Fair
enough. Okay, then I suggest we all do that, and I will post a message on the public message boards on behalf of the Royal Council to that effect as well.
Okay,
right.
Noted. Thank you.
Done. Okay, now we have going to need a bit of info here from the Royal Clerks. We have a policy proposal to do with the weight of gold.
Yes, Chairman, this was proposed by some of our economists working with the Royal Clerks. And we just wanted to run it past the Guild and the Council Committee and see what you thought. So the idea is, as you know, we've been having some problems with meeting the debts of the kingdom, and some tax rises have already been put into action that will begin fairly soon. Some are already beginning. But we're aware that it doesn't quite meet all of our challenges. And so what was suggested was that quite often gold comes into the hands of the Crown, and it comes in through taxation, through banking, and through various other means. It will be possible for us to shave an amount of gold from the coins and then keep them in circulation with their same value. We would then use the shaved gold. Instead of having to raise taxes for people, we could simply shave the gold, and we could use that shaved gold to mint additional coins to pay the bills of the kingdom. Now, our economists have different views on what the effect of this would be, but most of them seem to think that it would be unnoticed and that it would be an easy way to pay some of the bills we need to pay. And we wondered what your thoughts were on that.
Okay. So the question, I suppose, here is the value of currency in Barony based around the true value of the material, of the gold in question, or is the gold merely a token representing a promise from the Crown to pay a set value? Now, if the value is purely the value of the metal, this, I'm sure, is a crime should it be carried out by members of the populace shaving coins. And if so, I'm not sure it's something the Crown should do, but I'd appreciate everyone's thoughts on this.
It sounds to me like it's basically revaluing. If you produce more of currency, prices will go up, I would think, ultimately.
If there's more gold in circulation, it has less intrinsic value in the real world. I mean, if I found any of my workers on my estate who my reeves tax shaving bits off the outside of gold coins and giving me those gold coins, I'd be less than impressed.
I believe that we were going to put an extra gold piece on the value of some items, and those were generally agreed. I don't understand why this has gone back to discussing other methods of gaining income.
Has that practice been, has those price increases actually been put into effect and proven to be insufficient?
No, at the moment, the policy is still working its way through the bureaucracy. We will be doing it in due course, but we want to publish the new prices at the same time everywhere, so there's no surprise from the people who are then affected by them. So that's what we're waiting on. We're waiting for the publication of the new lists of prices, which is fairly imminent.
Well, I'm no economist, but my thought and feeling as a duke of a city, a baron of an estate, and a landowner is that this is wrong and should not happen. It's false, it's stealing, and it's dishonest. That's my thought.
And I agree with my fellow landowner here. If you shave coins and then everybody shaves coins, then someone's going to get in trouble for something they possibly did not do. Say a local farmer goes to buy a pig and it weighs coins and it's wrong, then he's in trouble and on the noose for something he didn't even do.
It also may create confusion in the populace, because if the crown does it for some, but not for all, then merchants are going to be receiving coins of slightly different sizes.
Yeah, and it is going to be noticed, I'm sure.
So
I can't believe
that was discussed during one of our brainstorming sessions, and one of the suggestions that a clerk made was that it would be possible for us to release a new coin, which was slightly smaller than the existing coins, but had the same value. And then we would ask people we would make the old coins not legal tender, but we would make it that they could trade them for the new coins 1 for 1, and that they could do it at any trade post. And if we did it that way, then we could put the new coins in circulation without creating the legal difficulties that Baron Serpio correctly identified.
So what happens until everything is collected if it's no good? Isn't that going to have an economic effect?
Yeah, almost certainly. That's why we thought we should bring it to the Royal Council.
Yeah, I don't like it. I mean, I'm only the chair of this council. I'm not the council. I'm not the king. I would suggest I don't like the idea at all, but I would suggest we keep it in reserve until we find out what effects the increase in prices previously discussed and agree has. If the kingdom's still running a deficit and struggling at that point, we can revisit it. But I'm pretty strongly opposed to it personally.
Okay, that's understood, Chair. So you are suggesting then that we put it to a kind of plan B that we'll use only in the worst circumstances.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got plan A in progress. Let's wait until that's implemented and see where we end up and keep this as plan B in reserve.
I'd be interested in hearing the views of the Lord Crusader Merle. Since your Crusaders would be getting 2 types of coins.
Well, they're probably already doing it.
We deny everything. Every coin comes in is checked. Just want me a little small than the other, sort of, so we know nothing about it.
Okay. Unless there's any other comments, we're done on that for now. Okay. That covers all of the written agenda items. So does anyone have any other business to raise?
I was wondering what the status is of diplomatic exchanges with the city of Poldoon have been.
So virtually silence, High Priest. We have reached out a few more times, little more than cursory acknowledgements of messages received, but beyond that, almost nothing. But again, also no trouble. So some of the things we were worried about haven't materialized. As far as we're aware, business in the city continues normally. We're not receiving any bad news about the way that the city is run changing dramatically. And goods do seem to be coming in and out of the city because we decided not to stop them for the time being. So goods are still traveling in and out of the city. People are still able to leave, although very few are. So we're unsure what to make of that.
As I noted during our last meeting, I intend to come out of the depths of the pits of Poldoon and arrive in the city proper. I was delayed because I found myself in an area where teleportation magic simply didn't work, and it took some time for me to get back into an area where they did. But I'm currently in the courtyards and will be making my way through the famous sewer system to the surface very near term. So I'll be able to give this council firsthand reports what I observed.
Yeah, it'll be good to have some eyes in situ there. So I look forward to you arriving, and thank you for doing that. I mean, to me, it doesn't seem to be causing any issues for the kingdom currently. If people aren't leaving but are able to, then I would imagine for the commoners in the city, it's life as usual. Governments come and go, but it doesn't tend to affect the townsfolk too much. So let's hold fire on that then. It sounds at least we're not having problems, and wait until the high priest can give us a first-hand update.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And then, as long as we're on the issue of open or closed, I'm still getting reports back from priests of the church that entry into the city of Lionel is still barred, as I reported at the last council meeting. And just to, it would be helpful if there was some reason for it to be closed, with that reason is explained. If not, have the city reopened again.
As I remind me if I'm incorrect, Royal Clerks, please, but as I recall, we agreed that the city should be reopened when we.
Yes, but it still has not.
Yeah, that's correct. The instruction was sent to the city that it should reopen, and they have received that instruction, and they say they're in the process of doing so. I think it was just a bureaucratic issue that's created a delay, so I'm sure it is now about to happen.
I thank the Royal Clerk.
Excellent. Okay, any other issues?
Who is the Duke of Lionel right now? Because there's discrepancies.
The list of people holding the senior posts is still not fully agreed. It's one thing that we hoped to bring to this committee once we had a list of names. A lot of them were set a few months ago, but some of that, I believe, has changed. So we hope to bring it to the next meeting to finalise all of the main positions of the across the kingdom.
Okay, that could explain why the city has not yet.
Sorry, Baron, would you repeat that, please?
I said that could explain why the city has not opened its gates yet. They're not sure who's in charge.
Yes, it could, and we're hesitant to declare and then make a mistake that would cause a diplomatic issue, cause somebody to be upset that we'd named them incorrectly. So we're just waiting on full confirmation of what the new posts will be, which I expect we'll get from the king in short order.
Okay, that seems reasonable. Okay, last call. Any other business?
Nothing to report so far.
Thank you very much, and I declare this meeting adjourned.